Thank you so much for joining us. And we have lots to talk about. Sort of the first time we're ever going to go really deep into AI for Go to Millions, which is about time. We're getting with the times, we're being modern. So thank you for being here. I know it's either early or really busy already, so we really appreciate you. I'm just going to get started. In my notes, I gave us 3 minutes for pleasantries and late arrivals, but I guess, just going to go for it. So we have lots to talk about today. I have with me Daniel Washburn, who's the director of e-commerce at Pressed Juicery. A fun fact is I used to work at Pressed Juicery corporate long, long ago. And so Daniel being with us today is so amazing to me. And a lot has changed. The name is back to the full Pressed Juicery. So much to discuss, and really happy you're here. And I know you lead a very important function in a very high growth company. So really excited. And I'd love to know what your favorite flavor is, but we'll get into that later. And then I have Logan, who is product at Triple Whale. Triple Whale is so core to my stack. And Logan is my truest like AI friend who has helped me so much along the way, has helped my team. And we're really using AI in a big way, which is what we're all going to talk about today. So lots to do. I have a few questions for you, Daniel, and then Logan and I will jump in. So just for everyone's knowledge, we're going to go into a few questions from us. Then we're going to show actually this agent. Jeff loves the name. Thank you, Jeff. You always are nice to me. And then we're going to show the agent and also show Copilot and show really like how my media buying team is using AI, and then also hear from Daniel about his team's doing the same. And then we're going to go into questions. So if you have any questions throughout the next 40 minutes, would love you to just drop them in the chat and we'll cherry pick them along the way and leave time at the end. But I will start. Okay, Daniel. What business challenges or like what led you in Pressed Juicery to adopting Moby Agents? And Moby Agents, just for everyone who's not familiar, is the agent name of Triple Whale.
Yeah, I think one of the nuances with Pressed is that they're truly omni-channel and not like we have Shopify and sell on Amazon and Walmart. Like truly omni-channel, we have 100 retail locations that act like fast casual restaurants. We've got a wholesale
Yeah.
business in Costco and 250 Target Plus, and then a D2C business that's buy online, pick up in store, local delivery, and if you live in the continental US, nationwide shipping. So with that, just talking about the D2C piece, those three type of fulfillment methods are different segments and different personas, and they need to be targeted differently. They have different AOVs. And so just slicing all of that data coming out of whatever platform into your BI tools, yeah, it's really heavy to slice it. So leveraging Moby and the AI there to just quickly, look at LTV by fulfillment type, what products are leading, what should be we leading from an ads perspective, targeting those types of segments, and just doing that on our own it'd be an impossible task. And so that's a 2-minute task with a Moby agent. So those
Okay.
types of questions coming from the CFO that are impossible to answer, it's quick and easy. So.
I love that. And then what was implementation like when you started to be like, okay, we need AI for this, we need Moby Agents? How long did it take you to learn this?
Um, I think we got a couple of really awesome onboarding pieces from some that are building the agents. And so it was kind of a rapid piece. We actually got it, I think, a week before the Grow LA conference,
Okay.
which I was speaking with him. And so that was fast tracked of like, hey, we're going to need to put you through the ringer so you can kind of speak to it and start to absorb it. So it's only been, maybe a couple of weeks that it's taken us to ramp up. But now most of us are in it, if not every day, the first thing that we open up instead of opening up like the daily reports are flash internally, we'll open up Triple Whale to look at that.
For me too, we've used Triple Whale for a long time, but we've been using the agents in a bigger way in the last maybe 2 months. And we now like cannot measure new customer without asking Moby like all these different ways to slice it. Because for some of our brands, new customer is defined as like first order, and sometimes it's first order on D2C, sometimes it's like first order Facebook. And we need to know different metrics, and hand pulling that is like, of course, a lot of work and can be stressful, especially when you have a lot of clients, but it's also sometimes just not accurate because you're hand doing it. And so that's how we use it the most. But I guess, Logan, what's like the biggest first prompt that blows people's minds? Or I know it's kind of an out of left field question, but what's like, where do people usually start?
Yeah, well, I mean, especially with Moby, and just for the folks who haven't seen it, like Moby itself is basically a chat function that knows the entire database. And so we spin up a database for all of our customers. Everybody has Shopify, Amazon, potentially Facebook, you name it. And you can go and prompt whatever you want, sorts through the database, writes SQL, and gives you an answer. So I think honestly, like any question out of the gate blows people's minds just because that's a fairly new idea. People are using chat for like customer service. But the idea that you can like spin out a graph or a chart, a table within seconds is pretty amazing. And then I think we've integrated some pretty cool tools. So even chatting like forecast my revenue and ROAS for the next, 6 months or next quarter kind of blows people's minds because they see the historical data and then the future. And we even have people using agents to track the forecast against the actuals. And there's times where it's extremely close, and that's like a mind-blowing experience.
Yeah, that's how we use
The
it. There you
the
go.
Klaviyo one, I'll just to jump in, the Klaviyo one really blew our mind of looking at all the different flows that you have running and then finding
Mm.
gaps of what flows you're missing, which is always like the hard question of like, I know what I'm doing, but what am I
Yeah.
not doing? And then it's spinning out, oh, by the way, here's some example campaigns. Oh, and then here's how you A/B test for like subjects, like those types of things start to get really crazy. Like that was the one that we're, well, okay, we're all in. This is insane. So,
On that same agent, I asked it, our welcome series has 7 emails. Is this the right amount? And then it says, no, you should add these four. And it like recommends the four and the timing. And you're like, holy shit. Like, okay. Like, because you think, I mean, you have your data is your data, but then it's telling you what to add in to make it fixed and to like get you closer to the forecast. So I'm with you guys. I guess on back to this. So what specific tasks or decisions make this easier for you? So like you say, I mean, even looking at ROAS by channel, but I guess for you, Daniel, like how is it helping you make like specific decisions?
yeah, so we sync with performance marketing and finance. We do like the Monday morning recap. And
Okay.
before these agents, you're chasing ghosts and you don't really know like what is up, what is down, what channel is up and down, and then what do you do? And so it's a super fast prompt, and then it gives you like, hey, conversion rate is up, but traffic is down on this channel, and then you can ask it, okay, well, how do we fix it, or what recommendations do you have? And so it makes those next steps so much faster to go from insights to actions. So that is a big driver for us. And then the Copilot components of kind of this MMM level of where should the next best dollar be spent is constantly being leveraged from the performance marketing team. Like every day, it's okay, increase this one, decrease that one. And so those efficiencies and just spend of Meta and Google is insane. Did that answer your question, Ari?
Totally. I mean, the Copilot for me is like the biggest change to my team's workflow. And I know we're going to show Copilot today. And Copilot, if you haven't seen it yet, it basically is like an agent ad buyer for you. So we'll show you. But I think for that, when you think about impact, if you don't have to make the decision of which ad set to scale, if you don't have to actually like do that on gut and it tells you what to do based on data, that's why it can hit the forecast correctly because it's if you were perfectly media buying this is what could happen. So then you perfectly media buy it and then it will happen. So I totally agree. I guess for time save, so the Monday reporting is a big workflow for you on the ecom team. Like, what are, I guess, ways people on your team are using it that maybe even the performance side too?
Yeah, so one of the first agents we used was the conversion optimization agent, and what landing pages should you be targeting first? Which ones look like they have the biggest upside, but then telling you what that like revenue upside potential is, and then being able to prioritize that. Uh, we used one. We wanted to re-optimize our product finder quiz and really use that as leveraging a new customer acquisition tool. And so I think the prompt was like, we want to build a product finder quiz,
Yeah.
give us product recommendations along the product journey that lead to the second purchase. And then it spun out like LTV 7 days wasn't enough data. Then it was 90 days. Then it ranked the products. And then it spit out like recommendations of question structure and the quiz structure. It went beyond just the recommendations. It was like building the quiz for us along the way, which I thought was pretty crazy. So
Yeah, no, that would be pretty crazy. I guess my last question, and then we'll get into showing what this really looks like, is how do you, at like a big org like Press that has their own systems, has a ton of data, a ton of people responsible for data, how do you like advise anyone listening to help feed like adoption into AI? Like, how do you help your org into this?
yeah, I think culturally we're trying to stay on the forefront of that, and so be
Yeah.
on the cutting edge, bleeding edge of AI stuff. So it hasn't been a big um, convincing because our executive team is they're actually taking like an AI class right now, and that's part of
Yeah.
their leaders for. So I think it's more of like everyday adoption is really the argument piece, and showing whenever there's something that's going to take you too long, try this AI agent or anything, if it's chat or any AI piece, it'll save you so much time. And just start with the one that's going to be the biggest time suck, and then it's way easier to tweak and edit something once you have it, like copywriting, right? Like it's easier to
Yeah.
edit something, come up with it new, and certainly with these. With AI, it's once it spits out, even if it's not 100% correct, it's probably pretty close, and you can start to tweak it on that front. And so I think it's trying to get it into like a ritual or a habit of leveraging it every day whenever those big questions come up. So
I love
that was
that.
my maybe
On my
random. Did I hear it all?
No, totally. On my team, like someone on my team will turn in like an insane spreadsheet and we'll be like, wait, how did you do this? And then they will say, oh, like I referenced this and then I also like use the internet. Like I like AI helped me. And we just like cheer. We're like, that is so sick and like show us like exactly what you prompted. And I think it depends like what culture you set, but for my team, everyone on my team has goals around AI and we want this year to be a year where we are hiring less and working like not even just quicker, but like doing things way better. And it's a good thing when someone says, I didn't build this alone. Like I think we're all from like school where you're like, oh no, like it wasn't only my brain, but who cares? Like just get it done. So
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, then for you, Logan, I'm sure you're very much in the AI vibe.
Yeah. I mean, I love to play around with different tools too, but funny enough, like my role is a lot about building agents and like making sure that our customers are set up correctly and whatever they want to get out of an agent, I'm helping them implement that.
Yeah.
But funny enough, like a lot of that comes from prompting. So you feed the agent data and then you have to kind of like tell the LLM how to think, what you want the response to be. And then funny enough, you can actually, I build agents and then I put a step in there that helps me write the prompts too. So I kind of force the LLM to read all the data and then write the perfect prompt instead of having to like write it out. Like 2 months ago, I used to write paragraphs and paragraphs of
Yeah.
prompts. And nowadays, I found that the AI can do a pretty good job if I give it just little cues here and there. This is what I want, and it'll spit out the right stuff for me.
It's like what Daniel said, like let it start it and then you edit it. So
Oh yeah,
perfect.
yeah, for sure.
Okay, well, speaking of you, Logan, should we show some cool shit? Will you take
Yeah,
us away?
yeah, yeah. Let's take a look at Triple Whale. And for those uninitiated, we'll kind of get started with the basics before we get to the super fun stuff. Um, Great. Hopefully everybody can see my screen, right, Ari?
Yes.
Cool. All right, yeah. So for I've been with Triple Whale for almost like 3.5 years at this point, and our motto since the beginning, when we were just like an integrations platform to like consolidate all your data, was to really help e-commerce marketers and operators make decisions faster and smarter. And that was 4 years ago. So I feel like today we're doing that better than we ever have. And essentially, we kind of organized that around like a couple of core jobs to be done, right? So we have marketing acquisition, we have creative management, customer retention, and business operations, some of which like Daniel was touching on earlier. But all of that's really made possible these days because we've really created a data platform for e-commerce companies. So something you don't really see when looking at this dashboard are all these, great agents and spaces that we've created, workspaces, is the underlying data, the SQL. So a year and a half ago, we started this project, and it was probably one of AJ's best ideas ever, which was to generate a data warehouse for e-commerce companies. Previously, the large companies would spin up BigQuery or Snowflake on their own, taking engineers and a lot of time and effort. That's not like building their business. So we did it for them. This data warehouse allows us to power tools like MMM, incrementality, attribution, Moby, and agents, right? So now that we have all the data in the back end, all you have to do is sign up, integrate, all the data flows in, it's cleaned, it's unified. You can start chatting with it and you can build agents around it. And then we can optimize stuff. So with like Sonar Optimize, this is where we like do CAPI for Meta and Google. We also have Sonar Enrichment, which sends data back to Klaviyo so that you can actually match better profiles for abandoned carts and browse abandonment. And then just like we're going to show you, Ari, we can build things like Ari Agent off the database. So it's a really cool space. I think we're leaps and bounds ahead of anyone else in the market. And I think if you're not using Triple Whale, you're going to be behind. I was also an early customer of Triple Whale, which is why I'm here today. So yeah, let's go over do you want to show off Copilot for a second and we can
Yeah.
describe how that works? Because this is a blend of like what every e-commerce marketer or media buyer does daily and how we have all the data in the background and how agents basically help you essentially skip a step, multiple steps in your process every day.
Yeah, and I think for me, like if you look here into the table that's been pulled up, it's looking at all these different periods. Like if you look all the way to the right, the
Yeah.
recommendation in the cell that Logan's clicked into is to reduce spend and like literally stop. But it's not just saying like on today's data, it's pulling last seven, it's pulling last three, it's pulling yesterday, it's pulling today. And if you think about even like Memorial Day weekend, the sale we just got off of, wouldn't you want to be able to quickly look at Wednesday when it's Saturday and not have to pull that and build that table quickly on the side or even just comparing views in actual meta? And so that's what we are using it for now. It's literally giving us this data and then the Copilot is telling you what to do. So like maybe Logan click into the take a look.
Yeah.
So here it's like a flag. And it's not telling you necessarily what to do, but it's trending downwards. And it's not saying to stop, but like, look at that's a half reduction almost. So you're going to want to look there and then maybe you click in and see, okay, you open Meta too. You're like, okay, wait, these creatives are doing this. What can we do to reverse this? Or maybe it's declining because the website discount code isn't available on that PDP that it's driving to. And you just need to be able sometimes to not have like too much trust, which I know that's a weird thing to say, but I don't trust myself to always like look at all inputs and know what to do. And sometimes I over index when I'm buying into, okay, well, like the Memorial Day ads from Wednesday have been like up for longer. So even though this says that like it's declining, I'm gonna override it. Like at least you like have that discussion, but it's telling you what to go look at. And I think that it's really powerful. Even the best buyers, it takes some time to build these tables and to decide what to look at and to visualize this data. And it's telling you exactly what to do. And I mean, my favorite is the scale spend, of course. But I think Copilot is 100% the future. And I don't think it's going to like replace your team. I think something my team always thinks about is like, how can I be a stronger buyer so that I can spend less of my time in the ad account? So then I can be better for my clients, spend more time on creative, which is what our agent's going to do. But I think it's all about making sure that there is like a check on your decisions, and that's what this does. Maybe Logan, this question to you, but Mackenzie wants to know, are there Copilot insights for organic or influencer or affiliate too?
Yeah, basically anything we have the data on, you can build a co-pilot or an agent around. So from the organic standpoint, we can absolutely tell you where traffic's coming from. So let's say that you're driving a lot from your YouTube account that's not paid because you have a great presence there, or maybe like you're like to know it on Instagram or something, for sure. And then for influencers and affiliates, we have a couple of integrations, and then we also kind of have a self-managed influencer and affiliate kind of like platform here. So you can actually build your own and track your own affiliate platform through Triple Whale if you'd like. And remember, like the agents can work off any of the data that we talked about. I know this is a lot to look at, and Daniel was telling us how he spent time in Shanghai, and this is kind of like Chinese to people. But the great thing is you don't really have to write any of your own SQL. you can use Moby like we were talking about earlier. But yeah, we have tons of data from organic keyword searches to influencer and affiliate sessions and conversions.
And there's so many agents too, Mackenzie, that are already built to do this, where even if you see one that's around organic, you can then go in and edit it and revise it to like pick up this channel or to look specifically and prompt it to do this. So I think it's to Logan's point about SQL, I don't write my own SQL. I've never in my life. So all of the agents that I work on are either agents that I've built or have been built for me or that are built um, like for someone else that is just easy enough to adapt. Okay, Logan, one more for you from Jeff.
Yeah.
Can you talk a bit about or show how one would build the agent or request an agent? I know we're going to show RA
Mm.
agents backend, but maybe I think showing that or talking through it would be helpful before we do that.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. So let's go and just take a look at Moby for a second and just describe. We'll take a minute just to describe the backbone here before we get into an agent. So Moby, we've kind of been talking about this interchangeably, Moby agents, but essentially Moby is your gateway into the database. Okay, writing natural language. So traditionally, what you guys would have to do is either go into maybe like let's say Shopify, go to the report tab, pull a report, export that report, or if you were lucky enough to have BigQuery, then you go ask your data team to pull something. So if I just asked for, show me revenue over the last 30 days by day, what this does in the background is it's going to write a SQL query. And then within a few seconds, we'll have either a table that we can turn into a graph. It may automatically graph it for us. We can ask for it in a graph format. So this is like the backbone here is really the chat to, we call it like text prompting to SQL querying. So that's how like Moby works. Sorry, it's going a little slow since I'm sharing my screen. Um, there we go. So it's going to normally when I'm not on Zoom and sharing the screen, you can get these answers and you can take Daniel's word for it or Ari's word for it. Normally you can get responses in under a minute, maybe even under 30 seconds. Um, and then what an agent does while this is working, an agent allows you to essentially string together different data sources and data pulls, and then feed that data into an LLM to either build you a report or describe nuances to the data or any other findings, insights, and recommendations it's finding. So there's that. I can change this into a line chart, and I can just see revenue day by day over the last 30 days, right? And so sometimes if you're just doing ad hoc things, this is really an easy way for you to kind of explore, right? And see what's going on with your data. You can even save this to a dashboard. It's super simple to always like come back and review it. It doesn't have to live in Moby from here. Now, from an agent standpoint, let's say that I wanted to build like that copilot that Ari was talking about. I can come into an agent and I can actually write prompts similar to what I did with Moby right here in the agent, and I can string things together. So if I wanted to look at, let's look at a couple of things. So if I wanted to say, show me revenue over the last 30 days by day, I could also string together, show me revenue over the last 30 days from last year, broken down by day. Now, a lot of you guys could do an analysis like this on like our summary page. I'm just giving you an example. But let's say you just wanted to understand how like revenue in the last 30 days compares to last year. Then you could just build a report and tell the LLM, hey, I want to understand how revenue is changing in the current period versus last year. Am I trending up? Am I trending down? But as you can imagine, you can add all sorts of different data slices here. So maybe if revenue is specific, I want to know where revenue came from. So you could also throw a prompt in here that says, show me revenue by marketing channel over the last 30 days. And you do the same for last year. You start to layer in things and you're feeding all this data into the LLM, and all of a sudden it'll come back with an answer that says, hey, look, Facebook spend is up 20% and your revenue is down 30% year over year. It's becoming less efficient. Then you may say, like Daniel's talking about tweaking. Oh, wow, that makes me think, what's going on with Facebook? Is it my targeting? Is it my ads? Or is my campaign structure different? You could start then adding additional data layers here that says, I want to see I want to see revenue from Meta broken down by campaign and ad set, right? Over the last 30 days. Feed that into the LLM. And this agent, what's great about this is all the data can be extracted and put into a dashboard if you want, but also it will create, which we're going to show with our agent. I don't want to what do you call that when you bury the lead or whatever, but it will create amazing looking dashboards that are scalable and repeatable, and probably better than anything that you could build on your own right now, in my opinion. It's using Claude or Gemini's Gen UI capabilities. So um, someone like Daniel could, once he gets this refined, we're looking at the last 30 days, right? So it's a rolling basis. If he wants to get this every single day and just look at the trailing 30 days, he can look at the last 30, the last 7, the last 1 day, all in one go. Gone are the days where you have to sit here on this dashboard and flip this. You don't need to look at yesterday and then wait for the data to load. And then click here and say, show me the last 30 days and wait for the data to load. You should be waking up in the morning with a report that tells you how yesterday looked, the last 7 days looked, the last 30 days looked. And then as long as you're feeding it the right data, you can get a root cause analysis about what's happening across your store so that you pop off an email or a Slack message and you guys are moving on the day rather than spending hours on end analyzing. Sorry, that was long-winded, but I hope that helped kind of bring it together.
I think that's so helpful. Okay, should we show our agent?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, cool.
You want to
So
talk through it as I scroll?
yeah, for sure. So basically,
Uh,
my team makes a ton of ad creative. We're also media buyers. We also build websites. We run email, we run SMS, we do CRO. We're in client. So we do it all. And for me, the biggest part of my job is connecting all of the teams because I run all of the teams. And so it's easy for me to, as someone who leads our paid team, to understand if I look into the data, what ads should be made. But it's hard for, let's say, someone who's on my paid team to always like accurately describe what needs to be made. They can look based off of our naming convention, which is really severe. I actually wrote about my naming convention today for Go to Millions later. But like the naming convention we have is really, really intense. And it's like, I looked at it, it goes all the way like A through column T. And we define so many different ad inputs before we even go and create an ad. And it's very manual. But we're choosing what ads to make like before I had this agent based off of what we analyze using like Motion or wherever we're getting our data for creative, or Trip Oil I know has also an amazing interface for this, but we're looking at what we think we should go make from the paid team and then requesting it to creative. And for us, our creative team is also really skilled at like understanding these metrics is in all of these platforms too, but it's hard to know how to brief every single ad at scale accurately. And not every single person has the same grip on describing what they want. So enter our agent, which is your creative brief maker. And it's using your own ad accounts data. It's also trying to reference against your goals. And it will let us look at, okay, based off of what is performing or what is missing, it will teach you and your team what to make. And this is the output. So it's defined by, for me, I need my agent to tell my team what to go make based off of the way we describe. So for us, we describe an ad as by its visual hook, by its messaging hook, by its value prop. And that's already language we use. If your team doesn't use the word visual hook, then change that. For me, a visual hook is in the first second of an ad, do I see someone's hand? Do I see the ocean? Do I see the product? Do I see some sort of interruption? That visual hook to us is like something we understand. But for me, the value prop is like, if you can see even here, we are using fake data here because I can't actually show my clients because I don't want to get fired. But you like can see here for this store, the value props of this product, it's a bra company in this like example of our demo store. But the value props of this product are comfort, confidence, support, customization, and there's a risk-free trial. So those are like the 5 things that matter. If you had a protein bar brand, it could be high protein, it could be low glycemic, it could be cost, it could be like ingredients, whatever it might be. But depending on your product for pressed, it could be like, you know, w- like I don't even want to say pressed anymore.
Solutions
I feel like
focused,
Daniel, yeah, you've
team
evolved
focused.
past all of it. Yeah. So like whatever your value props are, that's for you to go define, and I'll show that in the editor. So for each of my brands, it's not that RE Agent is doing this exactly the same for every single one of my brands. RE Agent is like customized for each store, and that's what you'll be able to do with it. But so like here, it's defining itself by what the inputs are. So value prop messaging hooks, which is like the same as the visual hook, but like what are the words on screen? What is someone saying? And then here I want to also understand where is this leading. So that way, when someone goes to make the ad, they know that this is an ad that's going to land on PDP. This is an ad that's going to land on collection. This is an ad that's going to land on the quiz. Just so that way there's like deep context and intention. Because if you're driving to homepage, you're going to say something different in the ad than if you're driving to like a drilled down PDP. And you're going to show specifically what type of product. So here it's analyzing all of these different inputs from our naming convention. And if you scroll down for me, Logan,
Yeah.
it will show like what the actual brief becomes. So this then teaches, okay, 5 different briefs based off of those inputs, based off of today's data, and it will give different storyboarded examples. So this one is like no more adjustments. And so it's giving me the audience to target. It's giving me the actual message and literally writing out like a deep script. Sure, like, is it exactly what maybe we'd say? Maybe not the first time, but to Daniel's point, it's so much easier to edit than to start from scratch. And then it's storyboarding like actual deep cuts. So here it's telling me to go make a 30-second ad. And I could even ask it again, like, okay, here, this is a 30-second version. What would a 27-second version be? And it can help me to re-storyboard. But it's telling me the different frames and scenes. And when you think about handing something like this to an editor who has to like research, write their own copy, decide even if they're going to make a GIF, a video, a static, and then what length, here it's telling me go find content from 2 to 3 different women and then make the call to action, the trial offer, because that's one of the value props that it's calling from. And then it's giving like deep copy direction. So it doesn't just stop there. So it's like it has the emoji, it has like that could be on-screen exact copy, or it could become ad copy, or it could just become, let's say if you decide to go make a static from this, that could be the entire content. And then it's giving an actual like visual style guide. So it's saying to make a before and after and like telling you exactly what type of content to go find in the drive. And then if you scroll down, it's going to show, and this is like a little just warning, it's a bra company. Sorry about this.
Yeah. We'll go to
But
one that
it's
doesn't
like,
have a push-up bra on it.
yeah, yeah, we'll be calm. Um, but it's basically showing like exactly the type of content that could be made and to go pull from. So it's showing, and Logan, if you want to jump in here, it's literally showing like of my value props, this is the ad type that like is working. So we should go make more of something exactly like this. And then it's
Yeah. Yeah.
showing,
I
yeah,
mean,
go on.
well, I just think, I think people will see too when we show them how it was built. That'll be a bit of an unlock too. But this is, the way we helped you build this one was that we're actually showing the top 5, I believe, video ads by the metrics. So the cool thing here is that not only are we writing these like creative briefs based on what's happening in the video or in the image, we're using the metrics behind it to define what's the winner as well, right? So like these just happen to be the highest spend, the best ROAS, and the best thumb stop ratio. And so this is describing what's happening in the visual hook of this exact ad. And then, how that relates back to what you're describing up here. These are the common themes of visual hooks of the best ads you're running, right? And then those themes help feed into the creative briefs that are written.
100%. Should we show how we edit it?
Yeah, sure.
So like, let's say that's the version of the brief that worked for me last week, but let's say I want to edit it to focus specifically on creative for Father's Day or for July 4th now. Then
Yeah.
here I can decide, okay, I still probably for me want to keep my same naming conventions, but maybe I want it to give me exactly like GIF inspiration. So maybe I can train it to say like, I want maybe just to brief GIFs in, or I want it just to brief in statics this time, or just to brief in videos, or to tell me like, I'll go make 10 concepts and 5 of them should be this, 2 of them should be this, 3 of them should be that. But here you can tell it like to create briefs. And then I can, instead of saying draw inspiration from different aspects of top performers, I could say draw inspiration from different aspects of top performers from July 1st to July 5th, 2024, and present a unique concept approach that uses red as the like highlight colorway and that draws on inspiration from Evergreen 2 during that period. Like you can get really specific, and especially knowing that for me in my data, the naming conventions already are calling this out. It can reference anything, which is why for me, naming conventions are such a big part of this builder. And we can talk about what inputs yours should have, but you can decide and change what this should be. And even in the way it presents the data back to you. So like creative title, short description, descriptive name of the ad, like that's just to tell it what I want this to actually look like. Because for some brands that I work with, they actually want to see the storyboard, and this isn't only internal, and it will like show this back to us in the way we want to learn it. And so that if you go down into the top performer gallery section here, so present my top 5 performing ads. What if I wanted it to be my top 50 ads? That is just a single edit. And I'm not an engineer. Like I can type an extra 0 there. I don't have to do anything crazy because this builder is meant for like people like me. And so you just have to ask for what you want, and then it's flexible. So like RE agent for you will look really different. And these are the value props it's picking up. And I want to know the ad name. I probably also would add job number, which is how my team defines what the ad is called internally, just so then when we get the results back, we're like, okay, 0057 worked really well during July 4th, 2024. Here's like what 0058 could be. It can like be whatever you want, but it's so easy to edit. And I think it really just has changed like how we've immediately begun to work. And what's great is for every client, these can be edited. And then for every promo, you can change what you ask for. So are there any questions? I know that it's always a trip to learn a new software. It's always a trip to like change your process, but it takes a long time even to fill out a naming convention generator. And so if you're going to fill it out and get all that information, you might as well then take shortcuts here. And the same way Copilot's telling me what to do in my ad account, now our agent is telling my creative teams what to go make to support that forecast. But what questions do we have about AI? What questions do we have about Pressed Juicery?
Yeah, sorry, what were we doing? Questions? We got, and could just cut me off when we're ready to take some. But
Yeah,
yeah, we have
yeah.
an entire almost like 100. We'll keep building this out, but we've got them broken down by those jobs to be done we were talking about earlier. So media buyers probably one of the most popular, but in the CRO, I would say a lot of our web analytics. So once you if you don't have an account already and you want to like upgrade, install the Pixel, it's like a more advanced Google Analytics. We can start powering agents that look at traffic to your site, where they're landing, what campaigns, ads they came from. So beyond like channel reported stuff. So there's a lot of great agents already here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
And
that
I have a
landing
few
page
questions.
recommendation was that one that yeah, that one blew my mind.
Nice. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay,
Right.
Erica wants to know, and Logan, I'll ask this of you. What is your advice for developing and adopting these agents if you don't use Triple Whale if you're on Northbeam?
My advice would be to sign up for the free account and like test it out for sure. I mean, obviously we don't have Northbeam's data in here. And the agents to begin with will just be channel reported data since you don't have like our pixel installed. But I think that we would blow your mind. There's just a lot of, I mean, our abilities are so vast. We're beyond attribution at this point. Attribution's still a core to our business, and we have a crack team that works on that. But the amount of value you're going to get outside of just attribution and with these agents um, should be enough to maybe sway you over this way.
And Erica, you can just try it and see what this does, even if it helps your creative flow and teaches your team how to like use a briefing system differently. Even if you don't end up going with Triple Whale, at least for a little bit of time, you'll be able to like get away with learning how to brief this, which I think is worth it. One more question, and it's from Galvia. I think I said that right. I hope so. Very cool name, Galvia Kelly. Very cool. Can you walk us through how attribution works between different channels? The biggest challenge we all face is different channels trying to claim sales and like over-indexing.
Yeah, we'd love to. And I'll tie it together with agents too, just to show you like how you can skip all of the clicking around like we were talking about earlier. So here in marketing acquisition, we'll go to our attribution tables. So similar to like what most of you are familiar with Google Analytics, if that's what your traditional attribution platform is, we break down, as long as you have our pixel installed, we're actually going to break down a plethora of metrics across every channel, every source, even if it's not a Facebook, could be any source you want, as long as there's tracking parameters involved. And we'll break it down like as deep as you want. So for Google, all the way down to the term level, for Facebook, down to the ad level. If you have affiliates, you can even include like discount code attribution if you want. And traditionally, like what you would see from a Google Analytics are maybe like a last click model or something, or like a data-driven model from them. So I would say for us, we kind of leave it in the hands of the customer to mix and match what they think is best. And I'll give you a couple of good examples, by the way, that will drive this home from agents too. I've got a client, a customer who runs a major brand, not in the US either. And they basically look at two different attribution models within Triple Whale. They use last click and they also use total impact. And now total impact uses post-purchase survey data, and it has an algorithm that helps take click data from the platforms, like the stuff that we're tracking, on top of post-purchase survey data to attribute conversion value to each channel in the mix. So what we use an agent for is this agent will look at total impact conversion value in ROAS against last click conversion value in ROAS per channel. And then the agent actually analyzes that data to give him a better recommendation of like where to allocate spend. So for example, it may say that Google is always much higher on the last click, and where total impact is really reestablishing that Google conversion value should go back to, let's say, Meta or TikTok in that example. So he's running that analysis through an agent weekly just to make decisions on where he wants to allocate budget. But yeah, so Triple Whale gives you the ability to kind of use all different attribution models. Triple attribution is where you're going to get 100% conversion value credit to every touch point. We have our own ID graph that basically helps make sure that when visitors come in, we know who they are, and if they come back again, we know that they originally came at a certain time point. So we have all those journeys here as well, so that you can like. That's not good if it's TikTok shops. Excuse me. Let's use Meta as an example. So we can actually look back over time and see how this person came to your site, where they came to your site. You can actually see here they went from Google to a Meta ad, started checkout, went through all their address information, they placed an order, they actually answered the post-purchase survey, said they were buying for themselves. They said they found out from Meta. Pretty interesting considering they came in through Google, right? So that probably tells us there was like a view through on Meta. They went and Googled the brand. They found out about it. They were probably retargeted here, even though this is top of funnel. They got another ad on Meta, clicked it. And then of course, like they decided to tell us themselves that the Meta was what brought them here. And using total impact, we're actually able to take the clicks that we captured and that information here and kind of reestablish conversion value credit back to the channels that should get the most credit. Do you think that answered the question? I know we don't have like live feedback, but
I think so. And then Caitlin, we're out of time, but you had a question for Daniel on how the Klaviyo like situation works within the agent. And I think that that's like a perfect way, like that's one of the agents that you're using, Daniel. And I think for me too, that's one of the agents that I'm using. And the same way that Triple Whale has all of your performance data, it has all of your CRM data too. And so the agents can do really crazy things for you there. But we're out of time. So everyone go just get your own agent. And it's not like we all have a lot of free time, but if you can learn how to use AI and to like really focus here, then you're going to create free time. So I really appreciate you all for coming. I know it's a really busy week, a short week. And thank you, Daniel. It's such a full circle moment. And Logan, you are so, so smart. And I will see you all really soon. And I hope that we all just like get this into our brains and are really like ahead of the curve of AI, because it'll only help us in our future. So thank you so much, and we'll see each other soon. Bye, guys.
Thank you.